I've written earlier this week a blog in which I argued that there are 3 reasons why Trump will lose to Harris in the coming election. Instead of reading this post, you can already see the link here, and I will put it in the description. If you are interested, you can read it, but I think I will make some comments on it. The first thing I want to touch on is that you see Trump's support is very intense. He is very popular among his supporters, and you see a lot of enthusiasm in his rallies and also online. But this does not necessarily translate to numbers because it is not the intensity of one's support that matters, but more importantly, the breadth of a nominee's support, of a candidate's support in a democratic election. And there are some question marks whether the breadth of Trump's support is big enough that he will win. Now, of course, I'm not saying that Kamala Harris is a great candidate. I never make that argument, and indeed, I would say that perhaps intellectually, she is not even superior to Trump, and when it comes to presentation, she is maybe worse than Trump. But those are not reasons why Trump would win, because people are making calculations based on their personal interests, not necessarily on the styles or on the personalities whom they like. Of course, to a large extent, it is whom they like. But there are other issues that matter. I think there are 3 reasons why Trump will lose to Harris. The first issue is abortion. Now, of course, you would say, and if you are a Trump supporter, you would say that Trump actually is not for a total federal ban on abortion. That is true, but that is only his personal opinion. That is not the opinion of the Republican Party and the evangelicals. So there are different degrees of positions that the 2 parties occupy. And of course, if you support women's right to choose, then you would prefer comparatively the Democratic Party. Of course, you would also say that this is a red herring. This is not an important issue, even if we got the Republican Party, Republican president, they're not going to ban abortion immediately. And that is probably true. But that's also a matter of the direction of travel, especially when the most important issues when it comes to the economy, when it comes to spending, when it comes to foreign interference, there is no difference between the Republican and the Democratic parties. Since there is no difference, there is no light between the 2 parties on those real issues. Then on issues that are on social issues, what originally would not be so important questions are becoming comparatively important questions. And abortion is a very important one, because when you try to take away women's rights to choose, you are taking away a very important part of the personal freedom of Americans or your citizens. And that is only a constituent part of the what is broadly called personal freedom. And when this little bit of right is chipped away, promoted by the social conservatives, we can expect more issues to be put on the table, to be brought on the table, and those issues will get similar treatment, and over time, over years, decades, they will be rights that slowly get shipped away. And this is a very important issue. It's like boiling the frog, right? In the beginning, it's not necessarily, they're not going to really ban abortion. But if this goes on, it will eventually happen and more rights will be lost. So it is an important issue. And I think a lot of Americans are quite wary of this, especially, of course, if you are social conservatives, you support it. But if you are not social conservatives, this is an issue that people are quite wary about. I think this is a losing issue for Trump. The second issue is Russia and the Ukraine war. Of course, there are a lot of Russophiles who make a lot of arguments that Russia is actually cornered, Russia has no choice. I don't want to listen to that. Okay, maybe they have some points, maybe they make some reason, they have some reason, but that's not the issue. The issue is that Trump wants to bow down to dictator, which is Vladimir Putin. Of course, some Russophiles who say that, and most Russophiles, all the Russophiles, they will say that Putin is a great democratically elected leader. But that could also, it may be true. I think it's actually not so true. But he is certainly a dictator. No argument about that. If you want to argue that, look at how the power structure is constructed in Russia. That is exactly what a dictatorship looks like. That's a middle age imperial court. It's the Tsarist Russia, the Russian Empire, and Vladimir Putin is the Tsar. That's what the situation is. And for Trump to bow down to a dictator and to force Ukraine to sue for peace by ceding land, that is, I think, quite a bad look for America. And I don't think, just from a rational strategic point of view, I don't think it's good for America right now to do it. In the beginning of the war, maybe it would be possible to sue for peace, and it would perhaps only involve having the Donbas region having semi-independence. That, I think, it's something that it can be sold to the American people. But right now, when the demand is a third of Ukraine, and this is after America and the West have invested billions, and especially Europe has suffered so much because of it. This will be a very difficult sell to the Americans. And of course, if you follow a lot of the independent media, you will see that they are telling you that the Americans don't want war. Yeah, they don't want war, but they also understand righteousness. The way that war ends also matter. And that is a very important issue. That I don't think Americans are trusting Trump enough for this. And Trump is really too pro-Russia on this. I think it's a losing issue. Also, for the Russophiles, they claim, I don't know how precise their numbers are, because it appears that they are not so correct. They're not, their correctness has not been proven by history. Because they said that Russia would win in weeks, in months. It did not happen. So I don't know how precise their numbers are, but they say that they have killed, or Russia has killed at least 500,000 Ukrainians in this war. And that, of course, there are a lot of anti-imperialists who say that the Americans' war on terror has resulted in hundreds of thousands of deaths. But that's hundreds of thousands of deaths over decades. And here we have millions of deaths in just 2.5 years and still ongoing. this conflict. So I think it is a very difficult sell for even people who are anti-imperialist to actually bow down to Russia, especially since it is questionable whether this peace will last. If we suit for peace, if the West suits for peace, and this is only a momentary peace, just only for war to resume, because the underlying issue is not resolved, then that is actually not necessarily a worthy peace to pursue. And also, there is a good contingent. There is a big contingent of, let's say, people who argue that America should. America does not have a fundamental conflict of interest with Russia, that it should simply develop a better relationship with Russia so as to counter China. This will be a good strategy, just like how America approached China to counter the Soviet Union. It will be a good rational strategy if there really is no conflict of interest with Russia, but there is currently some conflict of interest. There is a military conflict directly being waged in Ukraine, and the stake is Europe. If there is no such war, before there was such war, it was a rational decision. It would have been a rational approach to develop good relationship with Russia to counter China. But right now, if the United States develops good relationship with Russia, that would mean that Europe is being abandoned, and Europe is suffering a lot. And I think abandoning one's most important strategic partner is not a recipe for a successful empire. And I agree that the American empire is an empire. But it does not mean that it's going to, as an empire, just simply abandon its provinces because that is a way to lose your empire, not the way to strengthen it. So on the Russian issue, I think this is also a losing issue for Donald Trump. And thirdly, and most importantly, there's the question of the deep state and the moneyed class. We know that people who are the moneyed class and the deep state really don't like Trump because firstly, because of his personal style. He puts a very bad, very embarrassing look on the American empire. But at the same time, it's also about his policies. His policies on Russia, as I already explained, but also his policies on illegal immigration. This is another issue. In fact, if I wanted to expand this post, I would put it as a fourth issue. Because illegal immigrants are an integral part of the American economy. They are part of the reason why the American economy is so vibrant. Because these illegal immigrants, they come to work. They don't come to, as a lot of the conservatives say, to leave off benefits. There is no benefit in America. There is not even benefits for the Americans. There are certainly less benefits, if any, for illegal immigrants. They are in America to work, and after they work, they save money. After they work, they retire, and a lot of times they retire in their countries of origin. And that means that they don't add burdens to the Social Security, to Medicaid, and so it's actually Medicare. So it's actually a good deal that America is getting with these illegal immigrants. They are simply cheap labor. Of course, for a lot of the low-skilled workers, low-skilled American workers, they don't like these illegal immigrants because they pull down the wages. But well, that they are being sacrificed. I have to concede. I have to agree that these low-skilled workers are being sacrificed. They are sacrificed so that the American economy can be more competitive, because America is a developed country. Its citizens have certain rights. They enjoy certain standards of living that actually are better. Don't believe those independent. A lot of the independent opposition, quote unquote, media. They want to say that countries like China and Russia would have such comparable, if not better, living standards than in the West or in the United States of America. I've been to a lot of these places. I know that that's just simply not true. And for a lot of people to say that there is free healthcare for everyone. In China, that is completely true, completely untrue. That's a big fucking lie. Every day there are thousands, if not more. Every year there are millions who are bankrupt because of medical bills, and there's a problem with medical corruption that even the government acknowledges and is trying to address, which is that the doctors try to make the medical situations for their patients worse, so that they can extract more money, because hospitals are run for profits. All hospitals, including hospitals who are actually public hospitals, they are run as businesses, and that is for a lot of this independent media to spread lies about Russia and China, to say that lives are so much better. That's nonsense, right? For America to have its current standard of living and stay competitive, some people needs to be sacrificed. I understand that this is a very difficult thing to swallow, that they need to import illegal immigrants to take away jobs from ordinary American citizens. But that's just the way it is. You win some, you lose some. And another issue is, of course, trade war with China. Trade war with China is, of course, it hurts China very badly, but at the same time, it does not benefit American people. It does not necessarily benefit American businesses. There are better ways to compete with China. There are better ways to gain an advantage over China, and the trade war is not a good tool. It has been tried before, and it did not really work very well. I think there are better ways to do it. I'm not gonna really detail that, but I think the deep state and the money class in particular hate that idea, because the money class, they are the big businesses. They like free trade. They are not, as a lot of independent media say, and I agree, they are not necessarily loyal to America. They are internationalists. And I have to say, I'm also an internationalist. I also agree with a lot of the points. I don't necessarily agree with the methods, but I agree with a lot of the ideals promoted by the internationalists. Take that as you will. So with these issues, and there are others, just being the leading causes that the deep state and money class don't like Trump, I think they will put their fingers on the scale so that one way or the other, Trump does not win. Of course, if Trump's support originally is so high, like 70%, where Harris has only 30%, then it will be very difficult for them to do this. But if Trump's support is only 55%, but Harris has 45%, then I think they will be able to tip the scale in Harris's favor. And I'm saying this, I'm not even suggesting that Trump necessarily has a 10-point edge. Probably not. It's possible that Trump does not even have an edge, or won't have an edge when it comes to when we enter November. It's possible that he blunders, especially looking at his condition right now. I think it's becoming quite apparent that he is starting to realize that things are not necessarily going so well for him. Especially he understands that the deep state may not actually want him to be president again, and they may use forces if necessary, let's just say extraordinary forces if necessary. That, of course, is all the above is my opinion. We'll wait for the November election and see if I'm correct. Thanks for listening.